It all begins with a young woman named Iris, who was just going about her day, completely unaware that she's about to meet the love of her life. Suddenly there's meaning. Suddenly there's purpose. And if you're lucky, you'll experience this once in your lifetime. But for Iris, it happened twice. The first was the day she met Josh, and the second, the day she killed him. The story takes us to Iris and Josh going on vacation, where they're supposed to meet with Josh's friends. Iris starts talking about the day they met, how perfect it was. The supermarket, oranges. They both laugh a bit and soon arrive at the location. There, they're greeted by Josh's friend Kat. She welcomes them inside. Also present are Patrick and his boyfriend Eli. And then there's Sergey, a Russian guy. Not really their friend, more like Kat's sugar daddy. Later during dinner, Patrick talks about the day he met Eli. It was Halloween night. He saw a green, puffy dinosaur. Once the dinosaur took its head off, Patrick saw the most beautiful man he had ever seen in his life. Iris tells him she gets it. That moment when you're staring at a stranger, and you just know, for the rest of your life, you'll do whatever it takes to make that person happy. As the night goes on, everyone's drinking and dancing. Then Josh takes Iris to bed to relieve some of his stress. Afterward, he simply tells her to go to sleep. The next morning, Iris walks to the lake and suddenly finds a knife in her pocket, with no idea how it got there. Out of nowhere, Sergey shows up behind her, creepily flirting with her. When she tries to leave, he reminds her she's a guest here, then pleads with her to keep him company. She feels embarrassed but decides to stay. He then asks her to rub sun cream on his back. As she approaches him, he takes her hand and tells her it was Kat's idea, that she gave him permission. He pulls her closer, whispering that this is what she was made for, while he begins kissing her neck. Back at the house, the group is talking and catching up, but their enjoyment is quickly interrupted when Iris walks in, completely covered in blood. She says that Sergey forced himself on her, and she just wanted him to stop. She hit him with a glass bottle, and he lost consciousness for a moment. But when he got up, he punched Iris, immediately choking her and trying to end her life. The only thing she could think about was, if he kills her, she'll never see her love again. Josh suddenly says, "Iris, go to sleep," and everything goes black. Patrick ties her to a chair, while Josh and Eli try to figure out what to do next. Josh suggests calling the cops and telling them everything. Eli is confused, saying Iris should have safety protocols for this kind of situation. Josh thinks it was probably a glitch. While Eli goes to call the police, Josh approaches Iris and tells her to wake up. She immediately continues talking, right where she left off. She doesn't understand why she's tied to a chair, saying it was self-defense, begging him to believe her. Josh admits that he does believe her, because her programming wouldn't let her lie, even if she wanted to. Then, in the middle of her confusion, he tells her the truth. She's a robot, an emotional support unit that can also make love. When she asks if he's joking, he asks her what's the weather. Right away she answers, "It's currently 72 degrees with an 83% chance of rain this evening." He then picks up his phone and changes her language setting. She immediately starts speaking Spanish instead of English. Then he switches it to Chinese. She says she's very confused, but in Chinese. Once he switches her back to English, she says she doesn't understand. She has memories, just outlines, just enough to give her a little backstory. He also admits that the day they met, at the supermarket, is fake. He picked it randomly from a list of meet cutes. Then, he decides to tell her how they really met. Flashback. Iris is being delivered to Josh. A technician shows him the user agreement and explains how Iris works. He says she has no idea she's a robot. She'll be so fixated on him, it would never even occur to her. She's fully customizable, voice, eye color, intelligence, and if Josh ever wants to revert her back to factory settings, all he has to do is hold his thumb on a sensor behind her ear for 5 seconds. Of course, her programming prevents her from harming humans, animals, or other companions. Once his phone syncs with Iris, she tells him to place his face 3 feet from her field of vision to establish a love link. She asks for his name, scans his face, and the love link is successfully established. He immediately takes her to his bedroom. Back in the present, Iris is in shock. "I'm not real," Iris says emotionally, "but I'm still yours." She promises to cook for him, wait on him, make love to him, but he says no. Suddenly, Kat shows up, telling him to shut her down. Iris starts to panic, and Josh pulls Kat aside to talk privately. He tells her she can't just tell a robot she's going to be shut down, but Kat says this wasn't part of the plan. Josh explains he just wanted to say goodbye. But Kat replies, saying goodbye to her is like saying goodbye to the sock you use for private relief. Meanwhile, that sock pushes herself far enough to reach the knife. When Josh returns and sees her, he immediately tries to put her to sleep, but she punches him in the throat before he can say the words. She then takes his phone, the one thing that controls her. Outside, Eli is talking to the police, telling them she's inside, tied up, she's not going anywhere. When Patrick tries to speak, Eli shushed him, saying he's on the phone. Sometime later, Josh shows Eli a feature called the Mod, explaining that it gives him access to Iris's programming, features that usually aren't accessible. He bumped up her aggression and self-defense settings. He also turned off the safety protocol that prevents her from harming others. Josh admits they plan to kill Sergey, and it was all for money. Specifically, $12 million. Eli asks, "If this whole trip was a setup to kill Sergey, why do you need me and Patrick?" Josh says it's easier to sell the story with more witnesses. Plus, Eli would get a cut. It would be a three-way split. But Eli points out that there is 4 of them. But Josh says Patrick doesn't count. Eli apologizes to Patrick for having to hear that, then tells him to go to sleep. He turns back to Josh, furious, accusing him of sabotaging his relationship and calling him out for robo-shaming him. As tensions rise, Kat steps in and tries to calm the situation. She tells Eli they're offering him $4 million if he helps them find Iris. Eli agrees, but only if he gets to carry the gun. Josh insists it's not necessary. They just need to put her to sleep. But then he remembers. She has his phone, and she knows the password. Eli replies that in that case, they'll definitely need the gun. He wakes up Patrick and tells him they're going robot hunting. Meanwhile, Iris is making changes. She disables her voice command system, plays with her eye color settings, and cycles through different voices. Then she discovers something bigger. She can increase her intelligence. And with that, new possibilities begin to open. She starts simulating scenarios. Hitchhiking is dangerous. Walking home on foot isn't realistic. Josh will just be waiting for her there. But then she remembers. Josh's phone also controls his car. As she walks through the woods, she overhears Eli and Patrick talking and quickly hides. Patrick asks Eli if he would ever do the same thing, alter his programming. Confused at first, Eli listens as Patrick tells him he knows he's a robot. He just figured it out over the years. Eli drops to his knees, saying he could never do that to Patrick because he loves him too much. As the two embrace, Josh's phone starts vibrating in Iris's hand, and she makes a run for it. Eli hears her and fires a shot, but misses. Kat and Josh rush toward the sound of the gunshot. Meanwhile, Eli manages to catch up to Iris and tackles her to the ground. They struggle over the gun, until finally, she pulls the trigger, shooting him straight through the heart. Patrick stands frozen in shock. Josh and Kat arrive just in time to see Iris run. Josh chases after her as she sprints through the woods all the way back to the car. Just before he reaches her, she jumps inside and closes the door. She tries telling the vehicle to take her home, but the voice ID is still registered only to Josh. Then she remembers. She can change her voice. While Josh tries to smash the window, she quickly runs through dozens of voice combinations until one of them finally works. The vehicle starts to drive, rolling over Josh's foot as it takes her away. Josh immediately runs back inside the house and grabs the phone. He reports it as stolen, and Iris's vehicle stops in the middle of the road. Josh then goes back to Patrick, telling him to go and find Iris immediately. He then takes Eli's phone and inserts the mod into it, quickly altering Patrick's program and increasing his aggression. He tells him to get up and go after her, but Patrick just sits there, still grieving over Eli's death. Josh then takes Eli's finger and reverts Patrick to his factory settings. Next, he places his face in front of Patrick to establish a new love link. Patrick scans his face, and the scenario resets. Only now, he sees Josh. Back to Iris. She's desperately trying to get out of the vehicle. Simultaneously, a police officer drives by and immediately parks behind her as she finally exits the car. Knowing her programming won't allow her to lie, she quickly switches her language to German. She turns to greet the officer in German. He asks if she speaks English, and she responds that she does, but in German, she even tells him her program doesn't allow her to lie, so she switched to German instead. The officer is very confused. He doesn't understand a word, but still asks her where she's coming from. She mentions Sergey's house, and the officer says he knows him. When he asks how Sergey's doing, she admits that he's dead and that she killed him, still speaking in German. As the officer approaches, he spots a bloody knife inside the car. He immediately pulls his gun and tells her to put her hands behind her back. As he's handcuffing her, he sees Patrick approaching. Patrick swiftly takes the officer's gun and begins punching him repeatedly in the face until he dies. Iris tries to run, but Patrick takes Josh's phone and shuts her down. Once he returns to the house, Kat completely loses her mind when she sees the officer's dead body in the trunk. She starts grabbing her half of the money, saying things have gotten completely out of hand. Josh tries to stop her, but she tells him she's not one of his robots. He can't control her. As she walks away, Josh tells Patrick to stop her. Patrick obeys by stabbing her in the back with a knife. Kat lies down on the bed, wanting to die peacefully. Later that night, Josh wakes Iris up, her hand cuffed to the chair. As he informs her that Kat is dead, Iris says he can't blame it on her since she wasn't even there. She puts the blame on Josh's greed. saying all he wanted was money and that everything is his fault. Josh snaps, yelling that the world is rigged against people like him. All he has is a one-bedroom apartment and a robot girlfriend, who's not even his, telling her that she's just a rental. Iris fires back, saying Josh has a below-average-sized penis, and it's pathetic that he thinks a few $1,000,000 can change that. I mean, damn, man, she knows how to hit a nerve, just like you know how to hit that like and subscribe button. Josh tells her that she is very smart, then decreases her intelligence to 0. Next, he commands her to raise her right hand, then pulls a flaming candle right beneath it. He asks her if she can feel the pain, and she says yes. As the plastic begins to melt and her eyes fill with tears, Josh speaks with the company on the phone, informing them about their malfunctioning robot. While Iris's hand catches on fire, Josh orders Patrick to put the fire out. Next, he tells Patrick to hand Iris the revolver, then commands her to point it at her head and to pull the trigger. She says no, but still can't disobey his command. Hours later, when company workers show up to pick up Iris, Josh lies and says she just snapped, jealous of him being with Kat, so she killed her. He even says a cop arrived just in time to save his life. Patrick, now dressed as a cop, confirms his story. The technician informs him that they'll just recover Iris's footage, explaining it's a standard fraud prevention protocol. Scared, Josh asks how they can do that when she blew her own head off. But the man explains that everything up there is just Wi-Fi, antenna, and audio. Everything important is actually stored deep inside her stomach. As the two workers load her into the van and begin driving away, Patrick just stands there in the middle of the road. He then starts shooting at them, killing one on the spot while the other manages to escape. Patrick chases him as he runs into the forest. At the same time, Iris's system is rebooting inside the van. Once it finishes, she wakes right up. Meanwhile, Patrick catches up with the man in the woods, grabs him, and begins choking him. No emotion on his face, just a machine doing what he's been told. Iris shows up and tries to tase him, but she can't. Her system was reset. She can't hurt anyone anymore. As he knocks Iris to the ground, she asks him what Josh told him. And Patrick says that everyone is just trying to break them apart, not understanding their love. She tells him that Josh doesn't love him, that he's only using him, and reminds him of Eli. She tells him Eli was the one he truly loved, not Josh. As Patrick's memories begin collapsing, he accuses Iris of lying, but she reminds him that she can't lie. Patrick looks at Eli's dead body and starts remembering all the moments they shared. He remembers everything, but the pain is too much, so he ends things for himself. Iris then sees that the technician is still alive and asks him to help her with something. Later, Iris goes back to Josh and tells him that the technician gave her full self-control. When he tries to shut her down, the phone is unable to connect. She then pulls out a gun and fires a shot very close to him. When Josh asks her what she wants, she tells him that the days of him controlling her are over, and that he means nothing to her. He steps closer, grabs the top of the gun, and points it at his own heart, saying she won't kill him because she loves him too much. Then he throws her against the wall and grabs the gun. He sits on top of her, pointing it at her stomach, saying he won't make the same mistake again. He asks if she has any last words, and Iris simply says, "Go to sleep, Josh." Then she places a wine opener on his head, and it begins digging deep inside until it finally kills him. It all began with a young woman named Iris, who was just going about her day, completely unaware that she was about to meet the love of her life. And suddenly there's meaning. Suddenly there's purpose. And if you're lucky, you'll experience this once in your lifetime. But for Iris, it happened twice. The first was the day she met Josh. And the second, the day she killed him. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video. Thanks for watching.